Bruce says might be online, and Rodrigo also.
Bruce, Pirate Bruce. If only he were here. Hi, everyone. It's Freehands Friday number 89. It is November 10th, 2017. And we're missing Pirate Bruce. We're missing Bruce. Matt Tate said he might come by, but those guys get busy, and it's a school day. So we're talking repertoire, and David and Boaz have joined me. Good morning. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's, David, I'll probably start with you if that's okay.
Sure.
What are you working on? As we're going to talk about repertoire today and some ideas and some concepts about like building it and like what we're working on, what comes next. And Boaz had some cool ideas about how it kind of building off other songs that you've just learned. So let me start with you, David. What are you working on?
Yeah, well, I've got a list of tunes that I've been messing around with. I usually do. And a lot of times when it comes to like if I'm playing a gig or something like that, sometimes I feel like, you know, I have like so many like kind of like what I consider more upbeat tunes, and then, you know, I kind of divide them mentally into like ballads and upbeat tunes and you know, things like that. And sometimes I think to myself, man, I need another one of those, like another tune or another, you know. I've got tons of ballads, but that's what I like. So a lot of times, like picking songs to learn is sometimes just out of this, like I feel like there's a need for like a certain kind of tune, and I'll seek out something like that.
So when do you ever hear something on the radio and think that's a new song or that's an old song and I really want to hear that? Or does somebody mention it to you? How can that go?
Yeah, that's, you know, and that's another thing that I really take into account is like I get requests all the time, and sometimes they're pretty out there. But a lot of times, you know, people get a sense of what you're playing, and they'll mention something like that I had never even thought of, and like, oh hell yeah, that's a great tune. I'm going to work on that. And but, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes people come up and they want to hear classical stuff, and I avoid the classical stuff just because like retired classical musicians around here, and I don't want to embarrass myself. Plus, it's a lot of work. It's you know, other tunes I can take huge liberties with. Classical music, I feel like more locked in. So
it is much more structured.
So I tend to avoid that. I get requests for like Broadway tunes, you know, people asking for like Andrew Lloyd Webber or something like that. And, you know, it's like that stuff, I don't have anything against it. It just doesn't do it for me. So
it doesn't resonate with you. It's not something I'm talking about.
Right. So yeah, so, you know, I kind of a lot of the stuff I play, I've said before, it's like the music I grew up with. It's music that, what I really love is just finding tunes that are kind of like on the fringe, like everybody knows, but they don't know what it is. You know, it's a tune they've all heard, but, you know, and like Sleepwalk is a good tune like that. I mean, most guitar players know that tune, but if you play it for other people, they're like, what is that? I know that.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? You know.
Yeah.
So
I like to play.
You like to play that one, Boaz?
Play it for hours.
It's a good one. Yeah. So some of the tunes I've been working on recently is I get a lot of requests here in Colorado. Surprise, surprise for John Denver. Yeah. And so I've been learning a few more of his tunes. I do, well, he wrote Leaving on a Jet Plane, which I play, but he's not really, other people know that from who was it, the Mamas and the or I forget, or someone.
Did someone else do a popular version of that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But like, yeah. So I'm working on some of his stuff. Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen. I just learned like a new. I've been doing Adele when we were young. I've been doing.
You're opening a big.
Yeah, let me think.
For later on. You're opening a big box here for later on.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing is like, you know, it's like I always like to have variety. I like to have, again, like to me, like songs, they all evoke different moods, and that's really what I'm looking for when I'm out playing like a gig for people is like, you know, what is the mood right now? What is, you know, it's like, so if I just finish playing like Moon Dance or something like that that has a, you know, it has a swing to it and is bass heavy and stuff like that, the next thing I do might be something a little more airy, something a little more, you know, mellow, and then that'll lead into something else. And just, you know, so a lot of the times when I'm looking at tunes, I'm looking at like what kind of, what's the feel? What do they evoke?
They all have their own dynamic, and
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You did have kind of a toolbox of tools that you can call on to capture that moment. And I did have a moment. And Boaz, I'm going to get to you in a minute because I know you've got a lot to cover.
Not a lot.
Well, we'll get to you. We're going to get to you. But I did have this moment where, and it was in the backyard, but it was a nice place, and some people had just arrived, and like, you know, all these people from like one side of where I was playing came over to the other people that were playing at one side, and I was like, oh, I need to play something really memorable right now. And without doubt, the song, like, I hate to say it, but it's just like shooting fish in a barrel. Clocks will have people walking over to you to hear you talk about that instrument and that song. It's just, it's so easy almost. Like I was like, I have to save it, you know, it's like one of those songs where I have to save it. And I was like, I think now's the time, you know, they're all crossing in front of me and they're going to meet each other and hug each other and shake hands. And I kind of turned it up a little, and it was like, it was like kind of a little bit risky, but I was like, I was going to go for it. And it worked out really great. And then as they went back to the table, I got to kind of bring it down a notch. And I felt like all of a sudden, like I'm driving this show, and it was really gratifying. So if you've got that kind of selection of songs, which I'm happy to go back in my repertoire and kind of learn up on, because it's been a while since I played a really long set. And I have a long set next Friday.
Yeah, so I think that brings up a really good point, and that is that, you know, obviously when you're playing a gig, I mean, you've got X amount of time to fill, and there's nothing wrong with filler. You know, there are certain tunes I have that, you know, it's like if I go start a restaurant gig and there's only a couple tables or something like that, it's like I don't want to, you know, play my best stuff and you know, run out of you know, the good stuff. So I mean, there's a certain amount of tunes that I have that I, you know, it may be crass, but I consider them to be like filler material, and I'll use them when, you know, things are slow or just, you know, warming up, that kind of thing. And it's not like they're bad tunes or anything like that. Sometimes I get requests for that stuff too. But it's, you know, what tunes like really get you going, you know, like, you know, there's certain arrangements I have that I feel, you know, really confident about and stuff like that. And there's other tunes like, okay, you know, this'll do, this'll fill the time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's, you know, to do that.
Yeah,
So.
it's a little more laid back.
But and then you save like a tune like Clocks for You. It's like when that moment comes, it's like, okay, you know, I've got like my list of tunes that like I pull out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So Boaz, tell us what you're working on, man. What's the latest?
Just give you some ideas of. Well, I don't listen to the radio, but sometimes people may upload something on Facebook, or you know how YouTube, you watch one song and one song led to another. So anyway, this one. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just driving with in my mother's car, which have some songs, and I was suddenly this song came out, and I thought this would be a good idea to try on the stick. So you may have heard it on YouTube. Yeah. So
what is that? What tune is that?
well, it's called it's an Italian song which the French stole, and it's called English Indian Summer.
Okay. Okay.
Man, I like that.
They call it.
Down.
But the most well song is from French. It's actually the cover of the Italian version. It's called, well, I probably think from Lettre Indienne.
La Vie en Rose. That it?
You may find it. I upload it on my YouTube channel, my version.
Okay.
Also, you said I'm not even going to tell you what I'm going to play. If you not recognize what I'm playing, I'm doing it totally wrong. So, but this is what I meant when I said you open a big box here. So.
What is that?
Adele.
Oh, it's Adele. Okay.
Skyfall.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, I recognize the melody, and I know I've heard that song.
The James Bond theme song.
The James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah, it did sound like James Bond. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So. So,
nice.
One thing to another, I was thinking, okay, James Bond, this could be cool, and also good. Well, everyone hates exercises, so I found that a really good exercise could be, and the song, could be just playing this E minor, and I'm moving the fifth, and I'm moving the fifth again. So it's a James Bond thing. I'm playing the moving fifth. So this is how one thing leading to another.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. That's a fun song to play. That's another like kind of bucket list item I have to learn.
Right.
That's nice. I love it. Yeah.
So that's kind of a great technique is finding a scale or something like that. A song that I kind of that I use almost like as an exercise in sevenths is is in a sentimental mood. And so what I like about this is it uses all the different kinds of sevenths. And so the left hand's just playing that D minor 7 that we love to play. But then it goes up to a D minor, but it raises the 7. So the melody is, can't see both hands here, but I'll do my best here. So it just outlines an F, right? It's just F A, rather F G A C D F G, right? Nothing could be easier, right? So just, and actually this was the first song I learned on stick, so I was like, this is perfect. So now you're playing D minor, and then so it plays this. It goes.
You might have to turn up a little, Gene. It's cutting out.
Oh, is it cutting out? Okay, let me turn up a little. Okay. Hopefully I won't rattle my landlord. Is that a little better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so anyways, the idea here is that the moving sevenths in the left hand. So it's just going. So that being said,
nice.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a fun one, and it's one of those ones that I know I can go to. So if I like have kind of a shoddy performance or I'm trying something new, that is my like get out of jail card. So I save that one, or kind of like almost like it's like a reprieve. You know, it's like I can tune out and take it easy on that one, and it has the most beautiful turnaround. That song, like I just love that song, and there's kind of a fun story behind it. I don't know how true it is, but it's on the wiki. I read the wiki on that song, and so that was cool. So that's one that I've been have had for a long time. It's one of the first I learned. I'll play. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about repertoire now, about what I'm working on.
Yeah.
As kind of a lead in all this. So David, I really got. It looked like leaving on. Airplane. I wanted to learn that one. I wanted to learn that John Denver song. So I'll show you what I got, and you can be like, "That's," and like you're my Colorado contact. So like I really value your opinion here, right? Okay, like
let's hear it.
You're like the hometown. Okay, so I'm playing it in C, right? Let's try that verse one more time. So that's kind of some, just like the basics, right? Like, so that's not what I got.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's it's a beautiful melody. It's a simple tune, and it's one of those. You know, that's like one of the handful of tunes that when I play live, I almost always hear out of like somebody singing along or whistling or something. And so like to me that's a sign. When you hear that, it's like, okay, you know, that's a keeper.
Yeah, that's, yeah, there's just a couple of notes. He's going 1 to 4, so he's going C to F. And what's kind of fun is that the right hand, whenever I don't have to play adjacent notes in the right hand, I like it because it kind of, I get kind of lazy, right? And you just kind of connect these notes. You just play them in series. And what you need to do is find those key notes. And in a song like this, where it's folk music, you're finding those roots, those thirds, and kind of finding the notes where you can listen between them. So when he plays, actually, no, the part. sorry. The part I wanted to do was the verse. So he plays C, D, E, or he just plays. Yeah. So he kind of susses it out. Plays a F on top with the C in the bass. So he's outlining like the C chord, and then he goes up to the A. So what I like is that he plays this F, E, C, and then you come right down to the 5th.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a fun pattern to play. And so once I kind of unlocked that, I was like, oh, that's a cool chop. It comes right down from the 4. It comes down off of the sus note, and then it forms the chord so nicely and feels so natural. So
yeah,
that was what I liked about that.
Yeah, and so this actually just got me thinking about. I actually play that tune in G, but that's the other thing that I try to be aware of when I'm playing is like not to like play like songs back to back in the same keys. And also like alternating between, like, sometimes it's like, okay, it's time for a minor tune. It's time for something more bluesy. It's time for, you know, like a real major sounding tune. And thinking in those terms of just like picking tunes for your repertoire that based on like we were saying, moods before, and to me that's really related, but also like keys. Like I say, I try not to play like if the tune is in the key of C, the next one, there might be a tune that I want to play in the same key right after. I'll avoid that and jump to another key.
Yeah,
I think your ear fatigues. Like people get tired of if it creates more excitement shifting keys.
Right, and usually the environment that I'm in is usually like a cocktail hour or something like that, like a golf club or a cafe or something like that. So it really is kind of expected that you're providing the ambience, so you're working with the people. And the music, you know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, something like a key change makes a big difference when you're playing like quietly in the background for, 45 minutes at a time. That you want to vary that up. Another one that I wanted to run. Actually, there's two that I want to run by you guys. So I kind of want to like show you what I'm working on. I suppose this is my resolution. I meet with Claire and with Victor every couple of weeks, and we talk about Bach. So I won't bore you to tears with the Bach stuff that we're doing, but that is no small feat. And Claire and Victor are just
Bach. Yeah.
They are really good. So we're working on that. We're all working on different inventions. I think Claire's already done. She's okay. So one that I've been working on for a long time that I definitely kind of need to put a bow on it and be done with it is A Sweet Love by Anita Baker. So let me play this one for you. I'll just play like a verse and a chorus and stuff like that. See if I can get this. This one's in B flat. And so this one's, so I'll talk about this also. And actually, Boaz, and you guys can talk about Sleepwalk too. Like a range, like this is like a huge, lush kind of like, I think late 80s, early 90s, like kind of like, I want to say Motown, but I don't know enough about like the genre where it's just like, it feels like it's pop music. And it's got like a Motown kind of sound, but it's also really like 80s sound.
R&B is what I would think it is.
R&B, yeah, and that's really. And when I think of R&B, I think of, you know, like I don't know what I think, but it's just like it's like contemporary R&B. So, anyways,
Yes.
so coming down to like the stick, you know, when you're just playing, like you have to really choose your notes carefully. So I'm trying to do more with less on this one, and not try to make, like emulate every single sound and catch every single riff. I'm just trying to get like 80% so that people can recognize the chords and the melody and relate to the song. So here it is. So it's. So that was all the changes. I did the bridge there just to kind of play it along. But I feel like I've unlocked all the parts where I'm close enough.
Nice, yeah. And so that's I'm probably gonna steal that one. That's I love that tune.
Yes, no, that's good.
and that's another thing. It's like, I mean, that's one of those tunes. I think, like, you know, if I were to play that out, I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I know what that is, but I don't know what that is. You know, it's
because the arrangement is like this huge, like band with like synths and like the rockin', like Nathan bass line and boy, cool. Yeah, well, B flat. It's B flat, and it's so clever what they do. I love what she does with this melody. So the first change is going from like a major chord, but then it goes flat. But then the second note is like, I suppose, F sharp or a G flat. So it goes to like the minor 6.
Okay.
And the melody, I can't even put it into words. But she starts. It starts on the 5, so it walks down to the 3rd. It does this really cool thing where it goes right, and it's like on that sweet note right there. On the 3rd in the melody, and then it goes to an octave, and then it just goes to the root of the chord, which is. So she does this cool outline of this, because she's starting the chord on the 5, and then she just moves up an octave, but she goes below, and so. trying to explain the way this makes you feel when you play it, I'm like, this is why this song appeals to me. It's just that one chord change, and it just resonates. And I'm like, oh, every time when I play it, like now that I'm playing it, I'm like playing it a little bit louder with the bass line. I'm like, oh man, and like all of a sudden, like when I'm playing it at this volume, my right hand is totally relaxed, and my left chord is able to like embellish the chords a little more. Hey, Rodrigo.
Hello, hello.
You guys in the car. What time is it?
Driving.
Rodrigo is playing.
Not working very good.
That's okay. We see you and we hear a little bit of you. Keep your eyes on the road. Eyes on the road. Hey, man, we were just playing Anita Baker songs for each other.
Cool. Keep on doing it. I'll just be listening.
Okay, cool. So,
yeah, so I think I'm going to add that to my list. That's a beautiful tune.
It's
and
just try this. Just try B flat really quickly. Yep. And then if you go up to the G sharp, or the F sharp rather.
So. Oh.
Yeah. And then it goes to the 4, and it's a minor, so it's an E flat 7.
Huh.
E minor 7, sorry. E flat
what is it?
7. E flat minor 7.
E flat minor. Oh, E flat minor 7.
So now you're at the 4.
Okay.
And then G sharp 7.
G sharp 7. Wow. All right.
Yeah, so it's just. It ends on F.
Yeah. Okay.
F.
I guess I should mention that that's another way I get a lot of tunes is like, seeing what other people are doing and some, it's like, wow, that works, and I don't necessarily copy their arrangement, but it's like, oh, I like a tune like that. It's like, I don't think I would have thought of that ever on my own. But hearing what you were doing with it, it's like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear that. Yeah. So, and I love seeing what other stick players are posting, what they're working on, and there's lots of tunes I've lifted from, after seeing other stick players do it, and say, oh yeah, if they're doing it, I'm gonna figure it out.
I think that's allowed, and I think it's the most. What's the name of the song? It's "Sweet Love" by Anita Baker.
Oh, certainly. Okay.
And so now we'll talk to you guys about Sleepwalk, because let's be honest, I'd love to add that to my repertoire. Is this wrong? We're just like, as long as we're honest about it, right? I feel like, oh God. Sleepwalk's a good one.
It is.
Well, in every song I found a pick point, which I love. In this one, it's the 7 chord. I really love this moving chord between.
Yeah. Nice. That sounds great, boss.
and it's a fairly straight ahead chord progression. You're basically, it's C, A minor, F minor, G7. And then the bridge part goes from F major to F minor to what? To C.
C7.
And then there's that little, yeah, C7.
The nicest chord.
And that's one of those tunes on my other stick. I have the Passive 4 pickup module, and you can get like almost a steel guitar sound with that. That I'll dial in that sound for this, and it's like it completely changes everything. Yeah.
Is it, which pickup setting is it? Is it the neck or the bridge or both, or?
On the melody side, it's I think it's like that out of phase, or
okay.
like that kind of real tinny sounding, but it makes it sound like a pedal steel kind of sound. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a fun tune, and so this is a good example of a tune that. So like I said, it's C, A minor, F minor, G, and you know, it's like, to me, it's like a tune like "Let It Be" by the Beatles is, you know, it's C, G, A minor, F. F major instead of F minor, but those are like two tunes I certainly would not play back to back, because it's like they're to me they're closely related in the structure.
Gotcha. Hi, Roy.
Yeah.
Hi, Roy.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So we were just talking about Sleepwalk, and so okay, so we wouldn't put, what was the other one? It was Sleepwalk, and what wouldn't go together now?
For me personally, like "Let It Be" is a tune that it's like the same chord vocabulary, just in a different order.
To change that one up.
Yeah, I try to avoid that.
You know what else that I, as long as I'm stealing your songs, David, you're like the most like stolen Chapman Stick player on the internet. Here, I'll play you, because you got me to thinking about finding that song that you're comfortable with, you know, and you were talking about
Imagine.
yeah, so that one, and then the change on that is so much fun to play as a. Anyways, I know you know it, but it is another one where I was like, oh, that's easy enough. I just have to get comfortable with those changes and find those chords and find the key that works.
Yeah, and yeah, and you know, like that's really the thing. Like I said, it's like when you're thinking about building your repertoire, you know, it's like, yeah, I always have like more challenging pieces I'm kind of working on, but you know, there's no substitute for just like a good solid song, something that you're comfortable with, that has, you know, that people know, that um, that'll go a long way. And it's like, and you learn it, and you know, you play it, and you move on, and every tune you learn kind of teaches you things about music, kind of teach you about other songs. I mean, a lot of songs have very similar chord progressions, but with a twist. You know, it's enough that it like Boaz was talking about the Adele off of the, you know, the James Bond kind of thing going on. It's like, you know, certain tunes remind you of other things, and it leads you, you know, and next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch of tunes that you can pick from.
Yeah, you know what? It's fun to in that Anita Baker song. Show, like, there's a lot of really fun movement in that song, and when you start to play it, like the way that the chords come together, it's so, like, you just see the counterpoint. You see the counterpoint like happening, and you just feel it, you know, and it really is. It's a fun song to play.
Yeah.
The part that I loved about Imagine was the bridge that and it suspends. It's that E. It just kind of grabs you. It's like, wait, hold on, you know, like, and the when it goes to this is F, and it goes to G here. Right, so I'll play that again really quickly. That's just 1, 4, 5, right? You're starting on the 4. That.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I almost have to play that a higher octave up, so it has to be played. Because it wants to just connect to that F, and so what I've kind of had to do in relearning that.
Yeah, keep cutting off.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Boaz. It is a little. It might be the distance. But I was going to say that E suspends it and leads to the F so naturally, and that's why I've had to kind of relearn the song, because I want to play the E up on the 7th fret, and connect it right to the F, as opposed to playing it lower down, because that lower note just doesn't resonate the same way. It needs that kind of more kind of punchy kind of mid kick there. I really want to do that.
Yeah, so that really is that's a big thing too. Is to like there's a bunch of tunes that I've learned that you know, I find like I'm not playing them, and I ask myself why, and part of it is like either the key it's in is like it just doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel right or sound right or something, and I'll transpose it into another key, and it opens up the hands, or it sounds better. And so sometimes, you know, if like if I'm struggling with a tune and I'm like, you know, it's like I want to learn this, but it's just not, it doesn't seem to be falling right. First thing I'll do is like just start shifting around and trying to find if it works better in a different key. And because of the mechanics of the instrument and where your hands fall. Yeah.
So, you know, you had mentioned that at the beginning of the session, maybe before we were recording, but something that you talked about was letting songs go. So maybe we should talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of tunes that I learned and I used to play out all the time, and you know, unless somebody requests it now or something like that, I don't really go back to them. And it's like it's, you know, it's kind of like friendships that you have, like, you know, it's like you have, like, you hang out with someone and have a great time, and you know, a few years later it's like, you know, you might chat on the phone now and then, but it kind of just feels like it's time to move along. And sure. And to me, there are certain songs that are like that.
Oh man, I've got to know what did not make the chopping block, David Tipton. I'm dying to know. Tell me.
Oh,
I want to know who got kicked off the island on
who got
Survivor.
kicked off the island. Well, no, and there's certain tunes too, like, I learned kind of like just for a novelty thing. Like, I had a video of Wrecking Ball up by Miley Cyrus. It's like, I don't play that anymore. It's like every so often.
I started to try that one, and that was, I saw you play it, and I was like, that might be kind of a good song. It started a little conversation, but
it's actually, I love the melody in that tune. But it's one that, it's like I played out and I got, it would always kind of elicit a reaction, but it just kind of fell to the wayside. And but on the other hand, there's things like Fire. I know you do Firework by Katy Perry. It's like I play that as well, and that one seems to keep coming back. Like people know that I do it, and there's like certain servers at places I play who always request it and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so I keep it going. But given without that, I feel like a lot of the pop stuff, you learn, and like people recognize it, but more malleable towards just like whether I play it or not. Like, like left to my own accord, I probably won't.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. Well, I learned "Stupid Girl" by Garbage, and that was one. I remember getting that one to tape and being like, that will be the last time I ever play that song. I just was like, it was a cool idea, and I did it for my friend. This guy's name's Ace. I did it for him. And he was so impressed, and it was really cool. But then I was like, okay, now I'm going to go learn, like, another song from the Real Book or something that, it's just, it was good for a while. So I did let go of Stupid Girl. And another one that I let go of that I truly regret, but I was only ever able to play the chords, was Back to the Old House by the Smiths. So I'd really like to find a good Smiths song. So that's one that's like kind of on my chopping block next. Oh, and you know what else is? Well, just this past 2 weeks, I added Imagine. Like after our last conversation, I added Imagine and Leaving on a Jet Plane, and then I finished the Anita Baker song. So the songs that I really want to do is Wind Cries Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do that one?
I messed around with that. No, it's not one that I normally do, though.
It's in F, and at least he plays it in F, and it's so cool because he plays it in F on the guitar, and all the stylistic stuff that he's doing, I don't think he's using any sort of open tuning, but it's really like it's like Coltrane, like it's this exercise in how to play, the electric guitar, like with these open tune, open strings, and just the way he's like palming things, or maybe he's got the thumb coming over the top. It's just a really, it's a good kind of study, I guess.
Yeah.
To hear that on the stick, because it's so stylized on the guitar. There's like, in that kind of key, he's having to.
Yeah, and that's another great point. Is like sometimes there are. I remember having a conversation with Dave Brodsky about this, where there are like little elements in tunes that. It might not be the vocal line or something like that. It's just like a little riff or a little, a little part that people really identify with that song. And it always is a good idea to, like, if you can incorporate those little like nuances into the tune, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I liked hearing you guys play Sleepwalk, because it's a song we've heard so many times, but hearing it on the stick is a whole different experience. And so that's, people will recognize the song, it's just like, how are you delivering it? And so like Boaz, you do a lot of stuff, and you have a really you're really good with the left hand. Like you really realize the rhythm so well. And I feel like when I'm watching you play, I'm like, what am I doing all day with my left hand? Like how come I'm not hitting those lines like that?
I remember how to play this. The Sleepwalk is one word easy, because wherever I'm here, I'm playing the major chord. Wherever I'm here, I'm playing the minor chord. So very easy. it's easier to play minor chord than major chord. Right? So, that's the whole chord progression for the first part. So I'm not thinking even chords. I'm just thinking go easy.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's one. I played one gig with Mike Kolwitz, and that was one that he wanted. He called that one, and so we practiced that one time. And yeah, it was with 2 gigs. It was pretty cool. And another one that he did that Mike showed me was the MASH theme, the theme for MASH. So Suicide is Painless.
Oh wow! Yeah,
immediately recognizable. And for guys my age, you know, like you grew up watching that as a kid, like maybe your older brother or your mom or dad watched it.
Yeah.
Can you hold on a sec? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I was thinking about songs that let go. Well, I was trying about a year ago playing. I'm not a big fan of Nirvana, but I was thinking Heart-Shaped Box could be an interesting song. So I was going, okay, the verse is going, okay, 3 chords, that's easy. And what are you doing on the chorus? Oh, it's the same 3 chords, the same progression. So I let it go soon after.
Yeah.
I needed to. I think challenge is the key word here, because you need to get some challenging for both playing and here. So on this one I let it go. But if you go to what I played previously, so every song has some stick point which really challenge at least the here. So. So here, this is the most interesting chord in this part. So it's kind of diminished something minor 7th.
Like a minor 7 flat 5.
Flat 5, right. Minor, yeah, exactly. So for me, this is the pick of the song. So as you said, challenging is the key word for me. I don't want to be bored with after 3 chord progression. Okay, it's getting back and forth. That was on the first songs I got. I played Sound of Silence and Mad World. Okay, they're really nice to have on your playlist, but okay, I need something more challenging next.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying before. It's like, you know, I'm always working on tunes that challenge me personally, but you know, I also like I said, to me there's nothing wrong with simple tunes if they just have a few chords or something like that. If they have a strong melody, if it's something that, you know, I find myself whistling or like, you know, repeating, like, you know, after I walk away from it, to me that's worth learning.
So hey, I
challenge yourself too.
I moved my car there. Sorry.
Yeah, welcome back.
We are almost coming up on an hour, so I kind of wanted to wrap.
Yeah.
You guys are cool with
All
that.
right.
I think if there's a song we should all learn, or we talk again, that may be kind of fun. So I know for me, I'm working on invention number 8, so that one's very challenging. I'm working on What Drives Me, and I think I want to learn an Adele song. So, what would you guys recommend?
Skyfall.
Skyfall.
Skyfall?
I
can hear from her.
Which one do you guys do?
Yeah, I used to play someone like you. Is that what it is? By her, and recently I've been playing When We Were Young.
When We Were Young.
Has, yeah, and that's actually, to me, it's a challenging tune because it's an interesting chord progression, but and the arrangement is just. It took me a while. It took me a while to practice that one before I was.
Okay.
And I've been playing it out enough now that I feel like I've got it, but it's still, you know, I've still flubbed it up several times.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Well, that all the more reason. I think, you know, Boaz was talking about having something that's challenging, and that Anita Baker song has been really challenging. I just got hung up on the bridge, and I kind of simplified it. So, okay, so When We Were Young, and I really like that Indian Summer song that you played us, Boaz. I love the change in that.
Just moving your car, so I was talking this Indian Summer song. As the pick for me there is, as David said, this one is called flat 5, 7.
Mine is 7 flat 5. Yeah.
Like a diminished down to it.
Or half a minute.
Right, it's a nice chord. And so on.
I thought you were going to play "Fragile" by Sting, and it started to approach that just kind of straight.
Yeah, that's one that I do.
That's going on the list. That's going on the list. That just you just made my list, Captain. Fragile's one I gotta learn. So, hey Roy, we didn't talk too much to you today. What are you doing there? What's going on? Are you driving?
Me?
Yeah, you're just relaxing.
Yeah, this is my first time to join this little group, so I was sort of lurking here to see how you guys operate. But
oh, cool. Yeah, we make this stuff up as we go.
I'm just sitting here in the den listening to you guys. Very interesting.
Cool. Cool. And so I hope you want me asking, are you out on the Stickist, or do we see you out there on the Stickist?
I did join Stickist, and that's how I learned about this session.
Okay.
And so here I am.
Cool. Cool. All right. So you have a stick and you like to play, and
well, I have a stick, and unfortunately it's sat in the closet for the past 15 years. And for whatever reason, I decided to pull it out and restring it, and you know, something's rekindled my interest. So here I am.
oh, cool, cool. That's great. Yeah. Is it an ironwood, or what kind of stick do you have?
It's a 10-string maple instrument, and I don't know. I can't tell you exactly when I got it, but it has a beautiful sound to it, a beautiful tone, and it needs to be played.
Do you have a stick up, or is it an active 2, or what kind of pickup
No,
is it?
I believe the pickups were the normal passive stick-up pickups on those instruments, and it just sounds great. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a guitarist in a local bar band here, so that's pretty much consumed my time.
Yeah.
Along with work and everything else, but I'm back at it.
That's cool. Well, that's great to hear. Like the Stickist is a pretty fun place to. It's got some rough edges, but still it's a friendly, colorful bunch. That's great to hear. It's everyone's second instrument. You know, that's kind of what it feels like. It's
yeah. Well, I've always been drawn to the music and the sound, and I still am. So we'll see how far I can get along this time.
Cool. Cool. Well, I'm glad you tuned in, and we'll probably do this again. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We'll do the long format again. We've been doing kind of shorter, more informational stuff, but we'll figure out what comes next. I do like kind of setting some goals. So now that we're all here, right, and we're coming up at the end of the year, if you've got those New Year's resolutions of songs that you want to play, now is the time to put it out there. And so my 3 are going to be actually 4 now. I'm going to do Fragile, I'm going to finish invention number 8. I want to do When Cries Mary, and then maybe When We Were Young.
And Sleepwalk.
And Sleepwalk. Okay, all right. I'll pen it in.
Maybe you should just say some arrangement for Sleepwalk as well.
Yeah. Write out an arrangement?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, I just learn them. So what about you, Boaz? What's your resolutions before the end of the year? We got 2 months here.
I haven't thought about my next one yet.
Okay.
Still working on the arrangement. I haven't figured out the whole song.
Okay. I want to hear some goals. Goals.
My goal is to get the C part there. It's really disturbing me.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you think of any, what about you, David? You've got ones that you're working on, or?
I do. I mean, I always have a bunch. You know, I kind of collect songbooks, and it's like my favorite thing to do. On like, you know, is like just sit down and like play through. You know, just page through and like play stuff. And every so often something jumps out, and it's like, oh yeah, I want like. The Daydream Believer, the Monkees, like jumped out at me. It was like, oh yeah, that works. That'll be a good one. And like an old French tune, La Vie en Rose. And yeah, just, you know, you find all kinds of. I've been playing out of these ukulele songbooks. Yeah, which I mean, they're just, you know, they're fake books with just the chords and the melody. And the thing about those is they keep them all in very, very simple keys. Ukulele. So it's, to me, it's like, you know, I found a couple of tunes, and then I go and I'll find other music for it, and maybe in a, you know, a different. Like in B flat or E flat or something like that, as opposed to every song in the ukulele book is like C, G, F, or
really
pretty simple.
I was curious to know what would be the most desirable key, and somehow G, like stringed in one, come back to G.
And one thing I'm toying with, one of my goals I think is like, who is that guy? Bruno. French stick player. I saw him do a tune where he was just using like one finger, and I was like, you know, I want to do something like that, where either I'm like just using one finger in each hand, or because. Uh-oh. Or me. Hello there.
We're losing each other, so we'll say goodbye.
Okay.
We'll talk about resolutions another time. Roy, thanks for joining us. Boaz, David, a pleasure.
Thanks,
you,
man.
All right, we'll see you next time on Free Hands Friday. Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.